Hey everyone. Well, it's been a lovely Sunday, and I had some time today. I've been continuing to listen to the book Letting Go by David Hawkins, and I've also just had a bit of time to reflect on, week one of my piano course, which today is technically day 7 of that. Tomorrow will be the start of week 2. And interestingly, there's a connection I made just as I was sitting down to make this post, which is the video that I made for my students tomorrow. I called it "Making Progress" in quotes, and it's sort of about our notions of progress and where we're going, and this idea of where we ought to be whenever we're practicing. And it's one of these things that basically it just kind of it's one of the ways that we get in our own way when we're practicing. We wish we were somewhere other than where we are. We sort of have this desire to be further down the road than we are, and that takes us out of the present moment, and it takes us out of discovery mode, and it takes us basically because it's all of a sudden it's like saying that whatever I'm doing right now isn't enough. Whatever this, I'm working on a passage, right? I'm working out the fingering for a passage. I'm working out how to play a passage smoothly. The idea of progress, or this desire to get through it, is oftentimes the thing that takes our attention out of the thing itself. Because if our attention is in the thing itself, we'll just be curious. We'll look at every tiny little micro thing that might need to be looked at in terms of smoothing out or figuring out or correctly choreographing the passage. And I noticed this a couple times in students over the last week or so, that they'd be doing this amazing work, and then all of a sudden they would pop out and feel like, oh, now I'm boring you, or now I'm not. Now I feel like I should have gotten there by now. Now I feel like I should have gotten there by now. And that's it's kind of a funny way of phrasing it, but it's really kind of true. And so then the way that connected for me today is I was listening to David Hawkins, and he was talking about spiritual progress and unconditional love, and what it feels like to be in that state, and what attributes people have when they're in that state. And it's just this ease and essentially grace. To use the word grace, he says in this state of unconditional love, we accept everything as it is. We give to all and everyone with no notion of return, of reward. And we because we know that everything is as it needs to be. We know that everything is as it has to be. Every human being is as they have to be. Even horrible criminals and people that we would abhor, from a place of genuine, unconditional love, there's an acceptance of the fact that they are who they are because they have to be that. And there's this, and so one of the phrases that he uses is the idea of spiritual progress. And he said something like, we don't advance spiritually due to our own efforts and achievements. We advance spiritually due to grace. And that's just such a beautiful sentiment, and it's such a beautiful truth, and one of the things he follows up with that, or leads in with that, that's how in this state of unconditional love we don't develop a spiritual ego. There's no pride in our spiritual attainments because we haven't attained them. They're not attainments at all. They're actually the grace of the universe that has come through us. All we ever do is channel love. You know, he talks about unconditional love being something where you realize that you're not generating the love. I'm not being a loving person by generating a bunch of love inside of me. I'm being a loving person because love flows through me. It just, I let go of the blocks, basically. I let go of the blocks to love, and love flows through me like an open channel. And which I found just beautiful on its own, and really, really nice to hear today, and really kind of just really gave me a sense of connectedness when I heard him put that way. And it sort of reminded me a little bit of what I was talking about in my video to my students about progress. You know, this idea of making progress is almost always based on a pattern, and our preconceived idea of where we're going, where we want to go, where we wish we were. All of those things have to be patterns. They can't possibly be the moment. The only thing they can possibly be is patterns. Thought patterns from the past, templates of past experience projected onto the future. That's all they can be, ever. And getting that and sort of like really taking that in is huge, because it means that we don't have to make progress. We don't have to want to make progress. We are going to make progress. Evolution is going to happen. We're not going to stop evolving. But the notion that we need an egoic drive in order to evolve is completely fallacious. Evolution is the natural, and this is exactly what I'm noticing in practice. We don't need to have a burning desire to overcome the obstacle on piano in order to overcome it. In fact, often that like holding on to like that, I'm going to overcome this, just gets in the way. It adds a bunch of friction into the process of observation and gentle experimentation and choosing ultimately the smoothest path, which is the way through, you know, which is the way that the obstacle ultimately just dissolves. It goes away. You know, in piano, the obstacle is always inside of us. The obstacle to playing a passage, where do we think that's located? If one pianist can do it, where is the obstacle to my doing it located? Well, it's obviously in me. It's in my hands, in my body, in my mind, in my cognition. So there's this really beautiful sense in which letting go of that, letting go of the need for progress, is like a great step one. It's a great step one, because then our curiosity and our fascination and our interest, our actual care, our actual investment can take over and can do the work for us. And then the work becomes easy. The work becomes just a matter of working it out. And I just found that, so to hear then David Hawkins put that in spiritual context of, you know, letting go of the desire for spiritual attainment and allowing grace, allowing through. That's that was really powerful today. So that's what I got, folks. Happy Sunday. Love you all. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being in my life. Please have a wonderful week. I will see you again probably tomorrow.